It's Baxy's Musical Podcast.
Resistance is useless!
Hey everybody, it's Bax, and welcome back to another episode of Baxy's Musical Podcast. You know, a couple weeks ago, I told you that the greatest band that I had ever seen live was the band Fishbone. I also told you that Fishbone was the greatest band I've ever seen live more than 10 times. The truth is, I've usually never seen a band more than 10 times. 1 or 2 times, and I feel like you've given me just about everything that I'm going to see. But in the case of Fishbone, that was never going to be the case. Because I never walked out of a Fishbone show feeling like I got less than what I paid for, or they gave me less than 100% of their energy on stage. A few weeks back when I talked to Fishbone frontman Angelo Moore, we talked about those days and where they had been and where they were going. But we also talked about some of the other things that he had been doing in between. Several days after I posted that interview, I was contacted by the Year of the Dragon. The Year of the Dragon is a band fronted by Dirty Walter Kibby, also of Fishbone. And being a huge fan, how can I possibly turn that opportunity down? What I then learned about Year of the Dragon was that this was a band that was absolutely explosive. Explosive in all the ways that Fishbone was known for, but much heavier. And like Fishbone, the Year of the Dragon is freaking great. But they're taking things in a much harder direction, and it's amazing. So amazing that they've already opened for bands like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Bad Brains, and Living Colour. In other words, Dirty Walter is involved in 2 big projects at the same time, because not only is the Year of the Dragon getting busy, but Fishbone is also on the road later this year too. So if you can imagine it, Dirty Walter is looking to tear shit up heading into the new year. So sit back and enjoy some time with Dirty Walter Kibby on Baxy's Musical Podcast. Hey, Walter, it's Bax. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Is this a good time?
Yeah.
What's going on back there?
Oh, my crazy wife got this TV on. Hold on. Let me go to my car. Hold on. Let me move out of here. We got the Wild West going on. Yeah.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Good to talk to you. How you been?
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I have been a fan for, I think, as far back as 1985. Thank God that Roderick contacted me, because I talked to Angelo Moore a couple weeks ago, and the chance to talk to you, I absolutely could not pass up an opportunity to talk to Dirty Walt. So I've been spending the last couple weeks listening to Year of the Dragon, especially Take Control and Blunt Force Trauma, which I think is one of the great album titles of all time. Absolutely fantastic, Walt. I love what you've done with this band. I mean, I know you've been at it for a decade or more, and it just freaking crushes. Tell me about Year of the Dragon and what this band has meant to you.
Well, Year of the Dragon it means a lot to me because, it's like when I left Fishbone, the one and only time, I had to get into some more musical adventures. So, I started with a band called Sound Barrier, which is a black all-heavy metal band from L.A., and I was going to be, me and Roderick were going to be lead singer in that band.
Right.
And then they came on a long break, and me and Rod was like, well, let's see if we even sound good together. Let's start a little side band and see what happens. And that was Year of the Dragon. And we've been going ever since.
Well, when I was listening to the album Take Control, and I'm listening to Fits and Starts and Badass Beyond, I'm thinking, okay, there's similarities between Fishbone and Year of the Dragon, but the differences are pretty remarkable too. I mean, you take at Fishbone at its heaviest moments, you're completely fleshing this out, and it sounds amazing what you're doing, and it's really cool to see that you've taken Fishbone like one step further than it had been before, and I got to compliment you guys, because when I'm listening to it, I'm thinking, I almost like this every bit as much.
Well, that's a good thing.
It's a damn good thing, Walt.
That's what I try to achieve.
So what's going on with this band now? I mean, I know you're going to be taking a break because Fishbone is getting back on the road for a month or two or whatever it is. But in the new year, it's been since 2019 since you had Take Control come out. Are you looking to make new music with Year of the Dragon, or what are the plans?
Well, we're working on new music now. We've done a few demos, We're just trying to flesh out what kind of new music we want to put out to the people. So we're going through that process and, playing little shows here and there where we can. I
noticed there's a profound lack of pocket trumpet on a lot of these songs. Are you resting your mouth for the Fishbone tour, or how are you doing that?
Yeah, see, I only play trumpet for Fishbone. That's my rule.
It's a good rule.
So I can wear my lips out with them, and then I could sing on my other projects.
But it's always been like you and another guy. It's always been like a two-vocalist band for you. That seems to be kind of like a comfortable pocket for you. Is that the way you see it?
Yeah, I enjoy more voices and more things happening than just focus on one guy.
When I talked to Angelo a couple of weeks ago, he's talking about how, he sees Fishbone as kind of his home base, but like you kind of alluded to, he felt like he needed to have some sort of way of branching out creatively with the brand new step, and it sounds like that's kind of the way things are with you with Year of the Dragon. Do you see it the same way?
Oh yeah, that's what everybody's side projects.
But then I'm also told that the most successful of all of them has been you guys.
Ooh.
or is that, am I putting you on a spot with that one?
Yeah, I don't know what success is. So, I just keep working and pushing and, trying to reinvent things and see what happens.
So back in the 80s, I probably saw Fishbone a good 10, maybe 12 times. And to this day, I don't think I've ever seen a band that could do what you guys were able to do. Didn't matter how big the crowd was, didn't matter how big the room was. You guys mopped the floor with those crowds every single night. To this day, whenever anyone asks me who's the greatest band you ever saw live, I don't hesitate at all to say it was Fishbone. And it was Fishbone maybe in those early days when I saw you guys. And I just, to this day, I've never seen any band just completely destroy a room like you guys did.
Yeah, hopefully you won't see that for another 10 years.
Well, I'm at the point now where I'm feeling, you and I are not that far apart in age. I'm at the point now where I'm feeling like, could I last physically through a Fishbone show? I'm not so sure I'm up for it anymore.
Shoot, I could barely last through.
I remember a couple of shows way back when you guys opened for people. Specifically, I remember you opened up for the Beastie Boys, and the one that I'll never forget was you opened up for the Violent Femmes at Summerfest in Milwaukee, and it was an amazing show. And then a band comes on after you, and it's the three guys from the Violent Femmes, and they're playing their little instruments after the crowd just completely just passed out in a flop sweat. I just can't. What band in their right minds would put them in the position to follow Fishbone? I just, for the life of me, I can't understand why.
See, those bands are strong-minded bands. They're fearless.
You'd have to be.
Yeah.
I saw an interview with Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, kind of saying the same thing. We had to go after Fishbone. Well, how the hell do you do that? Even they felt a little bit self-conscious trying to follow you guys.
Yeah, they got to too. Everybody's got to have some kind of fear of Fishbone.
Yeah.
When we go out there, we ain't playing.
No, you are.
We trying to make God part the skies and all that shit.
Well, I think you did a pretty damn good job of it, because that's like I said, if you've never had that experience at a show, you pay your money, you get your ticket, you go to the show, maybe you get a decent a decent amount of entertainment out of it. But when you go to a Fishbone show, it's like your face is being melted off because
That's right.
I assume that it's the same kind of feeling with Year of the Dragon. That's what you want to do on stage,
Yes.
and the music lends itself perfectly to that.
Oh, yes, I would hope so.
Yeah.
I want to do something stronger and more terrifying with Year of the Dragon, so that's why it's like it is.
I was watching the Fishbone documentary a couple of weeks ago, Everyday Sunshine, and I remember watching how things were kind of fleshing out between specifically you and the band, and how things were starting to come unglued, and you could sense this frustration starting to build in you. And it seemed like everything was starting to change, with the situation with Kendall and just the struggle of getting the reality of my surrounding to become the hit that it should have been. Was that the start of it, or is that just like an oversimplification of what was going on with the band at that time?
Well, this band goes through things all the time, and the time with Kendall was a special situation because no one expected him to just lose his mind like that.
Yeah.
But we just had to just keep it pushing. So that's gonna wear on people's heads. Thought patterns, musicality, all that.
With a band like that, when as time went on, you were losing Chris Dowd and other guys were coming in and out, and it became harder and harder to focus on the songs and more focused on the sound or whatever you felt like the focus was. Did you feel like the band was losing something when it lost guys like Kendall and Chris Dowd?
Yeah, well, anytime you lose a rooted member, you're gonna suffer. But we would try to find guys at least musically talented enough to fill that space or even create a new space.
All right.
Yeah, so we just roll with what we got.
As I'm watching this documentary, and it's one of those things that bothers me because it happens from time and time again, and not just to Fishbone, but to a lot of bands, where a record company just can't figure out what they want to do with a band this great. It's like they want to put you into a category that you either have to be this or you have to be that, but you can't just be Fishbone, which is what your fans love about you. The uniqueness of that band was what really separated you from everybody else. There was no other band like Fishbone, but the record companies had a real problem trying to figure out what to do with you guys. How do you see that all these years later? What do you think the big obstacle was between the band and what record companies wanted to do?
Well, one thing is we did too many different styles of music, so they couldn't pigeonhole us in one place or another. And then the other was, we just so anti-corporate when they say, oh, you should just do a whole album of ska or this or that. And we're like, hell no. Why don't we shrink our brain to do that? We love all kind of music, so that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And they ain't trying to hear that, so, we battle with them all the time.
So in those battles, specifically there's parts of in the documentary that talk about, do you sell this as black music? Do you sell this as white music? And it just seemed to me to be such a dumb concept, because it's not just white music or black music. It's music. It's not about the race or who it's coming from. It's just these were great songs. And even though Fishbone was diverse, that was, I think, for your biggest fans, that's what really was the big appeal. It's kind of cool to be challenged by music. It's kind of nice to be not just given the same type of pop songs, but then to really get into something that changes on a dime, and the next song is completely different. I think that's one of the great appeals of a band like Fishbone.
Right. Now you can see that, we can see that, but the record company doesn't see that.
Yeah.
None of them.
So do you feel it's any different now with Year of the Dragon? I mean, what are the challenges that you guys are facing now with that band? I mean, obviously it's a much different time than say like the mid to late 80s, but there are still loads of challenges for for any artist right now.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much the same challenges as Fishbone goes through, or Bad Brains would go through, or Living Color,
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
And
We've been out there over 10 years, and no major label has talked to us ever.
see, and when I hear the records you've put out and the EPs, I hear music that could very easily transition into maybe not radio, but certainly into record sales in the right situation. And it shouldn't necessarily be under the same kind of categories that you may have seen Fishbone or even A Living Color placed in. It's like in 2022, shouldn't we be kind of beyond some of that stupid shit and get actually listen to what these songs are saying and what these bands are all about?
Yeah, you would think that's what everybody would want to be about, but the higher ups, the people with the money, the people with the power, they just want that easy, quick money without thought. So, anything that gives them a thought like, oh, well, I don't know where to put this or do with this, but it's great.
Yeah.
They say that all the time, or try and say, oh, we're going to try and get you in this and that and the other, and then do nothing. Say, oh, we're going to promote you guys, and we go out on a big tour or whatever, and we don't see no promotion. So we mad at them, they mad at us, because they think they doing shit, and they don't do shit. It's like they got to put in a whole lot of money just to even think about moving on your product, or they use you as a tax write-off.
Yeah, but that's unfortunate because you guys are putting your heart and soul into something, and to be treated as a tax loss doesn't really help you. Doesn't help you as a put food on your table or pay your bills. I mean, you got to obviously that's what you're thinking of, and you're also doing something that you love to do. I mean, this is you're creating a form of art here that really should be heard and would be very accessible in the right situation if someone just got out of their own damn way and figured, hey, you know what, this is really worth pushing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we ain't met that guy yet.
Well, God damn it, that guy's got to be out there. I wish I had more skills. Happy to do it myself.
You might be the guy.
Oh, I don't know, Walt. I don't know. Be careful what you ask for. Let me ask you this, because you're right now you're kind of in two separate pockets. You're on Fishbone on one hand, and you're on the Year of the Dragon on the other. How are you dividing your time to make that happen? Just being in one band can be time consuming, and the enormity of it is pretty overwhelming. But you're now in two. How are you managing that?
Well, I just try to not be as stressed out about it as others are. Because with Fishbone right now, we got time off. So I could, focus a little more on my other bands and my other projects. And, if they work out, cool. If they don't, then, it's back to the lab.
Does the fact that you're now much older than you were in 1979 kind of change that? I mean, does the perspective you have as an older man kind of, change your point of view?
It's just less stressful. When you're young, you want it to work real bad. You want everything to come out okay so you can, live a good life and say you done something. But, as an old guy, I done went through all kind of trials and tribulations, so I barely even care anymore. I just keep making my art.
Something kind of liberating about that. I mean,
yeah.
Hell yeah. I mean, there's a whole. It's one thing when you're young and you just want a mansion and a bunch of cars, but it's another thing when you say, hey, listen, I'm happy to be alive and I just want to have some fun. And if I make money along the way, great.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what brought you back to Fishbone? I know you were out for a good number of years. You were in it for 24 years, then you took like a 7-year break, but then you came back. What was it that said it was okay to let some of those old frustrations go and get back into that game again?
Well, when I left Fishbone, I got a few regular jobs to see how that feels to actually do some, work with my hands and things. And then I went on tour with the Red Hot Chili Peppers for Stadium Arcadium as a production assistant. And so I did that whole tour, and then I did REM as a production assistant on their last tour. And I was just seeing things that was making me go, yeah, Fishbone could do this too, but, the Fishbone mindset is so fucked up that none of that shit would work with them. So we got to take a whole nother angle. And then I went and saw Fishbone without me a few times. And then I was just angry and disgusted. And I said, I can't let this shit go down. I got to get back.
What?
And so I came back.
What was it that pissed you off so much?
I'll just see these damn horn players. They friends of ours and things, but that shit is not happening. Too normal.
So did they ask you to come back, or did you just make yourself known that, listen, I want to fix this for you guys?
No, they did some kind of little Trulio gig, Norwood side band. I think I went and just played just for the hell of it, just so I could do something. And then I think my spot opened back up, and I came back in.
Yeah.
And I stayed there.
These are guys that you've known for just about your whole life. I mean, you guys were in like high school, I think, when you all met, or junior high, right? Junior high, when you all met and started playing. It's any relationship, kind of like whether it's a band or any partnership, short of a marriage. It's these are difficult relationships, especially as you get older and your priorities change. How has it changed now to be playing with guys like Chris and Norwood and Angelo again? Are you the same guys that you were when you were young, or is everyone's perspective different now?
Well, everybody's perspective is different now. We're all older. We got families, some cats are granddaddies, stuff like that. So, the perspective, we would like the perspective to be like when we were younger, but we're not young.
That's true. That's true with every old man.
Yeah. So you just got to take the old man a view of it, and then try and work with what you got.
As you get through this tour with Fishbone, I know there's been a few stories along the way about who's still in the band. I know Fish is gone, but Norwood, Chris, and Angelo are gone. I think was it John Stewart is back in playing drums.
Yeah.
How does it feel to play? I mean, do you feel like this is a good representation of Fishbone, or do you feel like having Fish and Kendall would be a great addition, or is that not going to happen?
I can't really look realistically at seeing it happen, but you never know.
Yeah, good.
The group we got now is good. Everybody loves them as far as we could tell. So we just keep rolling until the wheels fall off.
And what about this news about a new album? I know that it was talked about that Fat Mike was going to produce it from NoFX. That is going to happen, right?
As far as we know, gotta tell it.
Any idea when it would come out, or not yet? Too soon?
I have no idea. I would only think sometime next year.
And is that the same ballpark as like Year of the Dragon, or you think that's going to be a little bit longer before that album comes out?
What, Year of the Dragon?
Yeah.
It'll probably be out before Year of the Dragon. Year of the Dragon, we still got a lot of time to figure it out, which direction we want to go musically. While guys are out taking vacations and working and doing stuff like that. We just got back from Oakland doing a gig. We're taking a little time off, and then we'll start back up again.
Well, I hope when you get back on the road, I know there's no plans for any East Coast shows that I'm aware of, but if you do, I hope you come up to New England, because I'd love to see you guys one more time. As a 56-year-old man, I'd like to know what it's like to stand around at a Fishbone show, hoping that nobody breaks my pelvis or something like that.
Oh yeah, I say put on your tiger bar and get ready.
Very good. Hey, Walt, it's a pleasure to talk to you. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but best of luck with Fishbone, and especially with the Year of the Dragon. I hope it does great for you next year and in the future.
All right. Thanks, Mac.
Like Walter said, you can possibly expect new music from both Fishbone and Year of the Dragon sometime in the new year. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like it, share it, tell all your friends about it. You can reach me at baxandrock102.com. I'd love to know what you think. And again, thanks for listening to Baxi's Musical Podcast.